guys, Phoenix here, and today I want to talk about the future of the Justice League. No, not that one. No. I wish. No. No, I want to talk about the future of the Justice League within the DC television universe currently running on the CW. Now, for those of you who don't know, the CW television network is currently running two very popular shows based off of DC comic characters. Arrow, a grounded, gritty take on the adventures of Green Arrow, and its spin-off show, The Flash, which follows the superpowered story of the character of the same name. Both shows are case studies in well-done comic book TV shows. A big part of that is, despite their focus on their respective heroes, the shows are not at all afraid to pull from across the DC universe and build a living, breathing world as open and connected as anything seen in comics or movies. As one of the consequences of this, the Arrow and the Flash are by no means the only superheroes in their world. The Arrow is currently joined by his partner, Arsenal, and actress Katie Cassidy is due to become Black Canary any week now. The show also introduced viewers to the egotistic, eccentric, and strangely charming Ray Palmer, better known to comic book junkies as the Atom, a genius superhero who can shrink to any size. Though the showrunners have stated that if Ray does any shrinking, it'll probably be on the Flash. Speaking of The Flash, the show has already confirmed that they've cast Robbie Amell as Ronnie Raymond, aka Firestorm. Also currently fleshing out the show's cast of characters is Cisco Ramon, who in the comics is the superhero Vibe. For those of you at home keeping score, that brings the total count of superheroes present or up and coming in the universe to 7. And what popular DC superhero team famously has about 7 members? There you go, now you see where I'm getting with this. With its current roster of heroes and heroes in the making, the CW has building blocks for an unconventional but fully functional Justice League. They can't not know this, just like they can't not know how huge it would be if they could pull this off. People love them some superhero team-ups. That fact alone is why the DC Comics universe exists, which means the idea of a CW Justice League has a lot of potential. This is of course assuming Warner Bros. Gives the idea the green light, but I'm just going to ignore the possibility that they might not for now, because if I don't, it'll just open the lid on a Warner Bros. Rant that's best left for another time. So today we'll just assume WB is on board and move on. When could we expect this team to come together? What could we expect once they do? Well, for starters, this is probably pretty far down the pipeline. Some of the heroes mentioned on this roster are technically still cooking, and if there's anything to be learned from the slow burn that is Laurel's transformation into Canary, it's that the guys behind the wheels of these shows are not shy about playing the long game. Granted, they seem to be moving Ray Palmer along fairly quickly, but given Cisco's current character progression, it'll probably be a while before he suits up. But once all the characters have reached superhero-dom, and maybe a bit before, I wouldn't be surprised if we started getting hints and teasers that a team-up is coming. But what would this team-up be like? Well, if I had to make an educated guess, I'd say we probably won't be getting the kind of pre-team friction we saw with the Avengers and are apparently getting again with Batman vs. Superman. By the time the CW's Justice League comes together, I think they'll have largely worked all of that out. Heck, they've already started to with the Arrow vs. Flash crossover. I mean, we'll probably get some snarky quips between heroes, coming mostly from Ray Palmer if I had to guess, but I think we'll largely see a cohesive unit who got to know one another a long time ago over the course of their crisscrossing shows. Another thing I feel pretty secure in predicting is that if this team ever becomes a thing, Arsenal won't be on it. Much more likely he'll stay and hold down the fort while Arrow goes off to fight with the Justice League. Why? He's just too similar to the Arrow. And while it works just fine while he's fighting on Team Arrow, in a team-up where every hero is supposed to feel unique and bring something different to the table, like this one, he just doesn't. Black Canary will probably still make the cut, if only because she's a woman and doesn't use a bow. What would they fight, though? What massive threat would force all these heroes to band together? Well, they're probably not fighting a world eater like Darkseid or Brainiac, because this league's roster isn't just unconventional, it's also a bit underpowered. The classical Justice League contains the biggest guns in DC. These guys, as cool as they are, just aren't as powerful. No way around it. Much more likely, we'll see some kind of city on fire scenario like what happened in Arrow's second season finale, where an army of villains is tearing the city apart, and it's up to the heroes to take it back. Maybe if a certain someone's prison full of supervillains had a sudden, massive breakout. Food for thought. See you next time.